विषयम् अधिकृत्य अधुना किञ्चित् प्रस्तूयते। विषयस्तु some remarks on teaching Paninian grammar to students at IIT Bombay. IIT Mumbai मध्ये अधीयानानां छात्राणां पाणिनीय व्याकरणस्य यद् अध्ययनं प्रवर्तते तत्र सम्प्राप्ता ये अनुभवाः तत्रत्याः केचन बिन्दवः इति विषयम् अधिकृत्य अधुना प्रस्तूयते। अत्र संस्कृत at IIT Bombay. IIT इति संस्थानं तंत्र शिक्षा रतं तन्त्रशिक्षायाम् एव सम्मतं सर्वविख्यातं विश्वस्मिन् विश्वे। तत्र यद्यपि तन्त्रज्ञानस्य विज्ञानस्य च अध्ययनं प्रवर्तते तथा तत्र होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन इति काचन कल्पना वर्तते याम् अनुसृत्य मानविकी तथा सामाजिक विज्ञानम् अनयोः विद्याशाखयोः अपि तत्र समावेशो वर्तते अध्ययनक्रमे पाठ्यक्रमे। एवञ्च बहूनां विषयाणां तस्मिन् पाठ्यक्रमे समावेशे जाते सति अपि संस्कृतस्य तत्र समावेशः नासीत्। 2001-2002 in this year Sanskrit entered IIT Bombay due to the encouragement of the then HRD ministry, and then after that it became part of the Humanities and Social Sciences department. Before that there was the teaching of Paninian grammar that happened in some IITs, but that was still not an institutional effort in a way, where in IIT Bombay the first full-time appointment for Sanskrit happened in 2003, after which in 2004 the great scholar, the great Sir Ramasubramanian joined in 2004, and then a cell for Indian sciences and technology in Sanskrit was established. And it is through this cell the teaching and research in Sanskrit goes on in IIT Bombay. Next slide, please. The thrust areas in which research is carried out in IIT Bombay are primarily grouped into two sets. One is related to Paninian grammar, where Paninian grammar is taught and researched on, philosophy of language is being taught, and also computational linguistics. And the other areas which are focused are astronomy and mathematics in Sanskrit sources. Next slide, please. There are three types of programs using which the teaching and research of Sanskrit goes on in IIT Bombay, and they are primarily the PhD program in both these thrust areas, which we established immediately after we joined. So we have coursework for both these thrust areas. We also teach at master's level, where there are elective courses, and also at the bachelor's level, where there are also elective courses. Next slide, please. A small bit of information about the students. So we have 20 plus students who have graduated from IIT Bombay, who have earned their PhD degree, and we are very much proud of all of them. Amongst these 20, 3 students are such that they also received Excellence in Teaching Award given by IIT Bombay, and 2 of them worked in the area of Paninian grammar. One student missed this particular award by a very small margin, and I consider it as a remarkable achievement yet. Amongst these students, 3 are well placed within the IIT system, what in IIT Kharagpur as well as IIT Kanpur, and others are very well placed in national as well as international institutions, contributing to a great extent to academics in general. We are very proud of those students, and it is an interaction with these students that forced us to undertake research in some different manner, which I'll be speaking of now. Can you go to the next slide, please? We are focused on certain research questions, which I have enlisted on 2 slides. This is the first slide. So, when we teach and do research in Paninian grammar, we first of all ask the students or train the students to ask questions in general. How do we ask questions? How do we ask questions to Paninian grammar? What kind of questions we can ask? How to prepare the background behind a question is the next theme that we try to impart. Then, how to ask a question to Panini, or when you are asking a question to Panini, you can think about the question being asked to you yourself, which means that how can you put yourself in the shoes of Panini? Similarly, the next steps that continue from this are: how did the construction of Paninian grammar happen? What is the methodology to write a grammar like the Paninian one? It is these questions that we are focused on, and many of our students have tried to ask these questions and also figure out answers to these questions. Next slide, please. Then, in the digital age, as artificial intelligence takes the prime seat, we also pose this question: what is the meaning of artificiality? What is the meaning of artificiality in artificial intelligence? Kritrima buddhimatta tatra kritrimatvasya swarupam kim? What are the steps in understanding this artificiality? And then what are the steps in building this artificiality? How different it is from natural intelligence? Also, how does the Paninian grammar contribute to better understanding artificiality? And also, can artificiality give us some more insight to better understand Paninian grammar? These are some of the important basic foundational questions that we keep on asking. And as a result, we have developed certain mechanisms, we have developed certain ideas, certain tools which can attempt to answer these questions at least partially. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the students who work in IIT Bombay, they get exposed to technological development. There are technologies developing at every point in time. So new and current trends in language technology are very much exposed to the students. Where earlier there were machine translation systems that were being developed using the rule-based system as well as probabilistic systems. Nowadays, the trend is to go for the neural networking or deep learning, and slowly, or we are already moving towards what is known as quantum computing. So it is in these areas that we try to expose our students. They get to know what these ideas are, and they get to know better because they are far more smarter than us, than me. So, for example, cognitive NLP is also another new field that is emerging, in which a lot of contributions can be made based on the theories propounded in various texts, also in the field of Shabdabodha. Students get exposed to various visiting faculty, and as an effect of all this, they learn. It is very important that the students learn. They learn how to apply and take steps to solve a particular problem as far as the language technology is concerned. They also learn how to work, how to collaborate with team members, and also understand the complexity of the linguistic problem, which gives a different perspective altogether than textual understanding or textual interpretation of a particular text. Next slide, please. Amongst all these activities, one motto that can be considered to be a bottom line that emerges is go back to data or go to data. Try to learn patterns in the data and analyze that data. This will also help understand the structure of the data. This is extremely important and should be paid serious attention to, which is a different path than what I personally myself undertook when I did my traditional education in Sanskrit Vyakarana, where we learned interpreted texts, where we learned what is the meaning of a particular sutra, how it gets interacted with the meaning of the other sutra, and so how is the siddhanta, how is the nishkarsha being drawn. Here we approach the data which is available to us through various means. If not available in the form of a strict data, this can be generated using the same grammar formalisms that are being taught to us. Next slide, please. As an outcome, we can say that these things we have done at IIT Bombay, and I really thank all my students who have undertaken difficult tasks in accomplishing these achievements. The mathematical modeling of Paninian grammar. In fact, there was a paper in this same conference about this topic, the mathematical modeling of Paninian grammar. So I will not speak much about it. Computational implementation of Paninian grammar. There are students, even now, one of them submitted his PhD dissertation very recently. He developed the computational implementation of Paninian grammar at IIT Bombay. Contribution of Paninian grammar to building lexical resources is a very important theme, and lexical resources like Sanskrit WordNet. I heard that there was also a paper which urged creating Sanskrit WordNet like resources, but there are already these resources available. At IIT Bombay, we created Sanskrit WordNet in 2008, and we are still enhancing it by uploading newer versions. There are also some tools that are being developed on the basis of Sanskrit WordNet, and these tools, one of them is called Sanskrit Shabdamitra. We have also contributed by developing dependency tree banks for Indian languages, obviously referring to and basing ourselves on the Paninian grammatical framework. Next slide, please. Application of language theories to cognitive NLP is another theme that we have tried our hand at, and we have come up with certain conclusions about the 8 definitions of the Vakya given in the 2 initial verses of the second Kanda of the Vakyapadiya. We have also developed something called textual history tool using the computational phylogenetics methodology, which helps track the historical development of a text through manuscript sources and other sources. We have also developed a prototype of Yogyata tool for capturing Yogyata relations, and mention was made about this in one of the earlier sessions. We also organized, as an effort of our students, 5th International Sanskrit Computational Linguistics Symposium in 2013. And we propose to organize the next, that is 20th, the proposed 20th World Sanskrit Conference in 2027 at IIT Bombay. Now, next, please. So, in conclusion, these are my advices to all my students. First and the foremost advice is learn the Paninian grammar thoroughly and then get exposed to technological development. This this tests our own knowledge of Paninian grammar, and with my own experience, we come to terms about the overall knowledge that we have got. We see gaps, we see methods of bridging those gaps. We see techniques with the help of which we can improve what is currently available. Understand the problems addressed or solved by technology and try to think how Paninian grammar can contribute in solving such problems. In my own experience, this enriches our own understanding of Paninian grammar. So, for example, basic problem of having n twice in the pratyaharas is addressed by a scholar who studied it from the point of view of mathematics and has proven that that is what is optimally possible. It enriches our understanding of Paninian grammar. This also enriches our understanding of the overall technology. Next, please. And finally, I also advise to my students and to continue the Paninian grammatical tradition. When you come into contact with the technology, you learn the nuances of technology, but it is your duty to also compose text in Sanskrit. This will keep the thought process developing. It will also need the new technical terminology to be developed. So that's what I tell the students to think about composing new Sanskrit texts. So these are the overall remarks of teaching Paninian grammar at IIT Bombay. I once again thank all of you for your patient listening. Thank you all.